good morning, committee members. My name is Boehmer, and I joyfully currently teach in Southport for Brunswick County Schools. This is my 11th year. The standards define what the students need to know. How to reach those standards includes the development and implementation of curriculum. That's completely up to the teachers, schools, and school districts. In 2009, I gave birth to triplets. So I not only speak to you today as a highly qualified teacher, but also as a mama. Well, now that I have a different kind of investment in the school system, I wanted to know more. So I researched. The more I researched, the more excited I became. I was able to see that the standards went deeper across content areas, and the students could gain a better understanding, strengthen the critical thinking skills they needed. I feel that the standards have the potential to revolutionize the way that we teach, and I felt that way then, and I feel more passionate about it now. And for me, the most exciting thing about Common Core is the opportunity for teachers to take a leadership with the instruction in our classroom. I feel that my instructional choices are intentional and well-designed and are relative. For example, with the domain, measurement, and data with mathematics, students are to describe and compare measurable attributes of objects like length and weight. I decided to use local resources to teach this. In Southport, you see many cargo ships. Well, I took many pictures of these cargo ships in the same spot and took them back to the classroom. The kids were all very familiar about it. With those, but however, they looked at them differently now. They looked at them as mathematicians, and it was nice to see that with these lessons, I covered so many math standards as well as English language arts. I teach kindergarten, by the way. I speak quite frequently to my students regarding the standards, and one child said, "Well, when you work harder, you get smarter." Well, teaching with Common Core feels very natural to me. It's a good teaching practice. Students are seeing meaning behind what they're doing. Yes, I want my children to be challenged as a mama and to be in an educational environment where they struggle a little bit and persevere while developing critical thinking skills and reasoning. I want this for my own children, and I want this for all children. By the way, in my kindergarten class, we have play centers, and they all know what vertices are.
I'm Dr. Lillie Cox, the Superintendent for Alamance Burlington Schools, and I've been asked to speak on behalf of the North Carolina School Superintendents Association and its umbrella organization, the North Carolina Association of School Administrators. There are several misconceptions that I have encountered as a school superintendent around the Common Core. Number one, the state is stepping in to dictate the standards that we teach, where in reality we have had standards in this state for many years. The expectation that teachers have common standards has not changed with the Common Core implementation. Number two, the standards are too difficult for our students, where in reality we are working to continually raise the bar for students and are not opposed to increased expectations. The challenge comes with supporting new standards while implementing other related initiatives, such as educator effectiveness, read to achieve, and new assessments. Thirdly, the new standards are dictating how we teach. In reality, the standards tell us what students must know and be able to do. They do not dictate the specifics of how we teach. Instructional decisions are made in the classroom and at the school level and are based upon the unique needs of the individual learner. And fourthly, the Common Core standards contain inappropriate information and resources. There are and always have been, in reality, solid and less credible resources. Districts and schools must continue to work to vet these resources for their appropriateness and alignment. Whatever happens next with the Common Core must be what's best for students. What will happen if the pause button is hit, as some are now requesting? What will that mean for students in their second year of Common Core courses? Teachers do not need to have the rug jerked out from under them with another standard change at this point. Our recommendation is that educators be given adequate time to make the Common Core work and pledge that our organizations, superintendents, are happy to work with legislators and our state leaders and DPI to get the implementation process right. These standards are changing how we attend to student learning and will ultimately lead to the best instruction and highest levels of learning that North Carolina has ever seen. Thank you.
My name is Susan Cox, and I am speaking today not only on my own behalf, but the behalf of those teachers, parents, and grandparents that have expressed concerns to me. I am a retired teacher with 15 years experience in kindergarten and first grade, and I taught conceptual instruction long before Common Core. I have concerns about Common Core relative to developmental appropriateness. I've seen examples of some of the assessments, a second grade math problem, a first grade reading passage, and I heard a fourth grade math problem that was presented in the last Legislative Education Committee meeting on Common Core. The second grade math problem was algebra and contained a three-part question. The reading passage was 3 paragraphs with multiple 2-syllable words, and this assessment piece was for the beginning of first grade. The fourth grade math problem was very complex and had a 4-part, very involved question, and I wondered how many of us could answer those questions. Education curriculum is being pushed down in the elementary grade levels, and I am concerned about all elementary grade levels, but I will speak today specifically to kindergarten. We no longer have a kindergarten. When I did my kindergarten methods courses, we learned that creative play was very important for developing thinking skills, creativity, relationships, social skills, and productive, appropriate interactions. Students are not given this opportunity today. When I go into kindergartens, I do not see house centers, blocks, art easels, and all those things that are developmentally appropriate for developing cognitive, social, emotional needs of 5s. The child development experts consulted when Common Core was being produced. What are we doing to our children? Please do a thorough fact-finding study on Common Core to ensure that our children are being given the most developmentally appropriate classroom environment in the elementary setting. Thank you.
My name is Lynn Edmonds, and I have 2 children in Wake County Public Schools, an 8th grader and an 11th grader. I believe the struggles parents and students are having with Common Core, especially in the elementary level, are very real. My own 8th grader has struggled in the new math course this year. However, I do not believe abandoning the Common Core is the answer to these struggles. With all of the concerns I've heard about Common Core through friends and blogs and mainstream media, I asked a friend of mine who teaches 4th grade in public school what she thinks of Common Core. I knew that she supported it, and I asked her to explain to me why she supports it. And here's some of what she shared. I believe the Common Core standards are real-world skills that are expected of any adult trying to make their way, whether as a doctor or a sanitation worker. I appreciate the fact they recognize broad skill sets and begin teaching them to students in kindergarten, building upon them and going deeper with each successive year. I appreciate the increased focus on nonfiction text, as that is what adults spend the vast majority of their day reading, from applications to cookbooks, newspapers, reports, directions, and contracts. There is no prescribed text, article, or topics teachers must use. The Common Core is not a curriculum. She continued, the Common Core standards are not unlike the previous North Carolina Standard Course of Study, which simply said, here's what a student needs to know and be able to do in each grade. Teachers were free to teach those standards as they saw fit, and this has not changed. However, the Common Core standards, unlike North Carolina Standard Course of Study, are more linear. I have to cut some of this out, I'm sorry. She went on to say that the Common Core is not perfect, the implementation has lacked training and resources. She wishes that it had been rolled out just K1, and obviously that didn't happen. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm the EA Timm from the Stokes team. I'm against the nationalized, standardized Common Core education standards because our nation is divided between the socialistic policies and principles of the Communist Party USA and those for constitutional assured freedoms. And with the communist goal to centralize power, that threatens the Constitution's non-delegated powers. And it is tailored for a stealth federal takeover, just like the Federal Department of Education was never and still is not a lawful delegated power to the federal government. And no one has been able to correct that. Education is a fundamental natural right of the parents and is best handled locally. Common Core makes that natural right untouchable by the parents and opens the door to national totalitarian control, which is antithetical to parental, natural, and constitutional rights and freedoms. The 10th Amendment states the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. Either that is truth or a lie. The idea that the federal opinions and laws substantiate they are delegated powers is a mythical interpretation of words that are not there. We must adhere to the words written on the pages of the Constitution, for that is what you and I swore to hold against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Whereas James Madison in his Virginia Resolution of 1798 states, it would mark a reproachable inconsistency and criminal degeneracy if an indifference were now shown to the most palpable violation of one of the rights, to consolidate the states by degrees into one sovereignty, the obvious tendency and inevitable consequence of which would be to transform the present republican system of the United States into an absolute or at best mixed monarchy. That violates the constitutional guarantee to the states of a republican form of government in Article 4, Section 4. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Ramona Timm from Stokes County. I come as a parent and as a product of the public education system. I grew up in Los Angeles under one of the most progressive education systems in the country. I am concerned about Common Core. I am concerned that it is inappropriate developmentally for children, especially in the early grades. I am concerned that contrary to the claims that it is a system of standards, standards do drive curriculum, and there is no way to get around that fact when you're teaching to testing. That determines exactly right there what you're going to be teaching your children if they have to pass the tests. I have some concerns also about sex education, and recently we came to purchase a book that is now being used in the Tennessee schools, and it is has been passed as Common Core approved. And if I were to open this book for you and show you what was in this book, which I have appropriately covered over, you would clearly see that this book from age 10 years old is pornographic. This is one of my biggest concerns. I am concerned about curriculum. I am concerned because Common Core does have to do with curriculum, and it does take away the control of the local school boards. That has happened many years ago. Thank you very much.